Once upon a time, there was a young woman called Oluchi, the kind of wife who loved with her whole chest, the type of woman every man desire for. She was very respectful. If she cooked for you, she cooked like joy was a spice. If she prayed for you, she prayed like heaven was listening. If she planned a surprise, she planned it with the seriousness of a vow. People always told her, "You love too hard," but Oluchi never understood how love was meant to be soft when marriage itself was a promise to give your best. And for 6 years she had given Andrew, the man she married, her best mornings, her best patience, her best hope. That evening, she stood in her small but tidy kitchen in a plain wrapper, stirring a pot of smoky party jollof that filled the house with peppery warmth, smiling as she tasted it and whispered, "Perfect, exactly how he likes it." Then checked the oven where honey-glazed chicken browned and crackled the way he once begged for back when he used to rush home like home was a reward. Those days felt
This is delicious.
I'm glad you like it.
with a smile that never reached her, always traveling, always busy, laughing at messages and hiding the phone screen away like she was an intruder in her own marriage. And still, Oluchi kept folding her worry into neat little excuses. Maybe work stress, maybe pressure, maybe she just needed to support him more. 2 days earlier, Andrew had flown to Abuja for what he called a career-defining pitch, gripping her hands and saying, "If this works, our lives change." And Oluchi had kissed his knuckles and told him, "It will work, you're brilliant, they'll see you." So now she packed the food into clean containers, wrapped them carefully to keep the heat, and reached into her drawer for a slim gift box she'd hidden for months. Inside it was a silver wristwatch with a deep green face, the one he kept admiring online while saying he couldn't justify spending money on himself yet, and she had saved quietly, cutting little luxuries, stacking small sacrifices until she could afford it. Her phone buzzed, a message from Andrew, "Reached Abuja, meeting tomorrow, busy." Nothing else. No "I miss you," no voice note, no warmth. Oluchi stared at the screen until the light felt cold, then tucked the phone away and whispered, "It's fine, I'll see him soon," because she didn't tell him she was coming, didn't tell her family, didn't tell her best friend. She wanted the surprise to be pure, the kind that fixes distance with one joyful moment. By afternoon, she was at the airport with her food bag and gift bag held like treasure, and a woman beside her in the waiting area smiled and asked, "You're glowing. Going to see someone special?" Oluchi laughed shyly. "My husband. I want to surprise him." The woman nodded like a blessing. "May the surprise bring you happiness." "Amen," Oluchi replied, watching clouds from the plane window and building a sweet movie in her mind. Andrew opening the door, eyes widening, arms wrapping her tight, whispering, "You came all this way for me?" And later, him fastening the watch on his wrist, eating her jollof with that satisfied hum he used to make, telling her she was his piece. The plane landed late evening and she took a taxi straight to the hotel Andrew had mentioned casually in passing, already booking a room on the same floor with the careful confidence of a woman who wanted nothing to ruin the magic. The lobby was all soft lights and slow music, polished floors and perfumed air, and Oluchi moved through it with a smile that refused to suspect anything until she stepped onto the quiet fourth floor corridor where the carpet swallowed footsteps and the air felt too cold for her warm hands. She found the room number, paused, inhaled, adjusted the gift bag and whispered, "Be calm, knock softly, smile nicely." But before her knuckles touched the door, she heard something, movement, then a small giggle, a woman's giggle, and the smile on Oluchi's face fell so slowly it felt like watching day turn to night. She leaned in, hoping her ears lied, telling herself it was the TV, a movie, anything, but then soft Afro beats floated through the door, and she recognized the song, Andrew's favorite love song, the one he used to play while holding her waist from behind and calling her his sweet trouble. Her fingers tightened around the food bag, and another whisper slipped out from inside, playful and breathy. "Stop, you're making me blush," followed by laughter that didn't belong in her marriage. Oluchi's stomach dropped so hard she felt hollow. She pressed her ear closer, heart pounding loud enough to betray her, and then she heard Andrew's voice, low and teasing, the voice she knew better than her own. "Come here, baby. You're not going anywhere." And the word baby hit her like a stone to the chest. She pulled back, staring at the door like it had suddenly become an enemy, her mind scrambling for excuses. Maybe it's not him, maybe it's a misunderstanding, until the final blade slid in, smooth and cruel. Andrew spoke again, clearer now, happy like someone celebrating freedom. "Next week we leave Nigeria together. Don't worry about my wife, I'll end it soon." The hallway tilted. Oluchi stumbled backward and leaned against the opposite wall, breath leaving her body in one long, silent theft, and the bags in her hands felt like heavy jokes. Hot jollof made with love, a watch bought with sacrifice, a surprise built with hope, all of it suddenly useless. Tears climbed into her eyes, but she refused to sob, refused to give the corridor that satisfaction, sliding down the wall until she sat on the carpet like a woman trying to hold her heart in place. For a moment she just listened. Kisses, laughter, bed sheets shifting, sounds that weren't just betrayal, but celebration of her replacement, and a strange kind of clarity rose through her pain, quiet but sharp. She didn't need a scene, she needed proof, because men like Andrew didn't confess when cornered, they rewrote reality. So with trembling fingers, she pulled out her phone, opened the camera, and when she saw the door handle, she hesitated only once, then she tried it, and the horror deepened, because it wasn't locked. The door opened a thin line, spilling warm light into the hallway like a secret, and through that crack, she saw enough to change her permanently. Andrew on the bed, smiling the way he hadn't smiled at her in months, holding a woman close, her hair spilling over his shoulder, her laugh too comfortable, her hands too sure. Oluchi's stomach dropped in her throat, and then the woman lifted her face, and Oluchi's soul went cold, because it wasn't a stranger. It was Lami, her friend, her sister, the woman who ate in her house, borrowed her clothes, cried on her shoulder, prayed with her, laughed with her. Oluchi's lips parted in silent disbelief as Lami giggled and said, "I can't believe you're finally choosing me." And Andrew replied without hesitation, "I should have chosen you long ago. I feel alive with you." And something inside Oluchi didn't just break, it hardened. She kept the door barely open, kept herself hidden, raised her phone and recorded, not shaking enough to ruin the frame, capturing their faces, their voices, the exact sentence that would destroy every lie later. Lami asked, "So when exactly are you leaving her?" And Andrew chuckled like it was easy. "Soon. She's too soft. She won't fight back." Oluchi almost dropped the phone, but she steadied herself with the wall, whispering with a dry calm that scared her, "You don't know me anymore." And when she heard Andrew say again, "Next week we're gone, new life," she stopped recording because she had all she needed. She closed the door quietly, the click sounding louder than thunder in her ears, and she didn't run to scream, didn't rush to slap anyone, didn't collapse in dramatic chaos. She simply picked up her bags like a woman carrying a funeral, walked to her own room, locked the door, and let the tears fall in silence until her breathing returned. Then, still in her house dress, she washed her face, stared at her reflection, and watched something change behind her eyes, pain giving way to purpose, because she realized she had been living like love was enough to earn loyalty, and she had to stop rewarding cruelty with devotion. She opened her laptop, drafted one email with a subject line that didn't beg or threaten, just stated truth, attached the video, and saved it, whispering, "Not now, at the right time," because timing was power, and she would not waste hers on emotion. At 6 a.m., her alarm rang and she awoke like a woman reborn. No shaking, no hesitation, washed, dressed simply, and with one calm breath, she hit send to the people Andrew feared. His director, HR, the board liaison, the partner hosting the Abuja pitch, and the compliance head who didn't tolerate scandals before big contracts. She didn't add insults, she didn't explain, she let the footage speak. Then she checked out of the hotel, tossed the cold food into the bin without blinking, and traveled back home like someone returning from war, because heartbreak is a battlefield, and she had survived the first strike. When she arrived, she didn't collapse, she packed, neatly, quietly, her clothes, her documents, her dignity. She placed the watch, still inside the gift bag, on the dining table beside a single envelope addressed to Andrew. Not a screaming letter, just a clean, clear decision, a divorce notice and a request for no contact except through lawyers. When Andrew returned hours later, frantic.
Can we talk?
Yeah, just a second.
It's important.
All right, I'm listening.